What's going on, guys? I got a quick deck profile from a locals event where I went 3-1 and played a new deck that I've been kind of just testing for a while, but any ideas would be absolutely awesome if you guys have any. We start off with Sweet 3 Swap Frog, so it is unfortunately just a standard frog deck. It's frogs, but it's not standard actually. I got 3 dupes, 3 swaps, and 3 Fishborg. So these are my only 3 ofs. I actually do not play Caius in the main deck here. This deck was kind of a new perspective of the Frog OTK deck that Frog Slicer and Dimitri had played. And so I wanted something that was kind of middle ground, not exactly just a huge Frog OTK, but more of a Frog combo with the Fishborgs with the ability to make huge synchro plays, but at the same time, was able to play like a pretty powerful trap lineup. And I think Flip Flop and BL's Frog here kind of in my frog things here. The reason I played Beal's Frog was because it is level 3, so it does combo with Fishborg to make Armory Arm without needing, I guess, some weird level 1, whether it be Treeborn or using a Substitute or something. It just really opened up Armory Arm plays. Flip Flop, in theory, felt like it should have been really good. And to be fair, I didn't play this deck right. I probably definitely messed up a lot of plays. In fact, I think I probably had game a couple times and I didn't know the lines. I don't have much practice with this deck. I've only kind of, what do they call it, goldfish, so just kind of shoveled myself and played through the combos while sitting at my desk. But then when I went to the event, I think that those combos that I was playing didn't really translate well in terms of me not knowing exactly what plays I should go for, when I should go for it. But Flip Flop did not feel great. It wasn't bad, but mostly it was just ended up being extra fodder for Substitute's effect. And then Beal's Frog, I actually never went into this a whole lot either. Luckily, I didn't draw it too much until literally the very last game, in which I lost for going 4-0. But that's fine. That's fine, I guess. It's the game we play. I'll go over some of my matches after this. But then, I don't know. I don't know what else they could be if not these 2 cards. Beals, I think, was fine. But Flip Flop, it just felt like a luxury, to be honest. The triple triple dupe frog. These cards were actually insane. I do really like triple dupe. I don't think I'll ever go off triple dupe if I'm playing frog again, whether it's this deck or any other frog variant. Triple dupe was actually insane. And then the final monsters, I played 1 Ocean, 1 Dandelion, 1 Junk Synchron, and 1 Gorz. So the Dandelion was insane, the Ocean was insane. Obviously, the only reason I'm playing them is for the Future Fusion. Future Fusion, you can show Gaia to send these 2, or you can show Absolute Zero to send Treeborn Frog if you need to. You can use it to send one of your Fishborg Frogs to open up basically huge combo plays. A lot happened there. Sometimes, and actually it did happen once because I do play 3 salvage, that I did go Ocean, drop Substitute, drop Ocean, or go Future Fusion, drop these 2, and just salvage to return them back to the hand. So salvage was an insane card, absolutely wonderful. In general, this deck played really, really well. But it was just a couple of cards, and then the final game. I need to get my siding too, but my final game, I sided in some cards that I don't main because I didn't want to draw multiple of them, and I'd get smoked. In the main, we go back to 3 Moray of Greed. This card was fine. I think there was one time I drew 2 of them, and neither of them were live, so just 2 dead cards. Basically, my final hand for my last game of Swiss to go undefeated was I sided into Caius, so I opened up 2 Caius, like 2 Moray of Greeds, a Raigeki Break, and a Dimensional Prison or something like that, and it was just like, it was not a good time. 3 Pot of Greeds, incredible. This card was absolutely incredible. I think there was one game I got all 3 of them off. Basically, you can make huge combo plays. I mean, I probably went through my entire deck 3 times, drew into a Pot of Greed, which then drew me into another Pot of Greed. I think I had another Pot of Greed at some point earlier in the game. Ended up making like a huge synchro plays, and I just ended up winning at the end of the game through a colossal Armory Arm at just some random point. Pot of Greed was awesome. Salvage, also awesome. So I got, even at a locals event, I got deck devied 3 times, all in my 3 matches. So for round 1, I played against Vayu, and I did open up Dust Shoot both games. I 2-0'd him. I opened up Dust Shoot both games. But both games, he also deck devied me turn 1. So he was maining deck devy, got against me turn 1 both games. Game 2, he also Dust Shooted me. But I think out of deck devy, through all 6 turns, like the turn he used it plus the 3 turns after that, I think he only hit Swap Frog 1 time, to be honest. And another time he might have hit a couple of monsters, but I actually had salvage, so I just added them right back to hand. Because he had to go -2 to get off the deck devy, and I was able to get those monsters back, I was then able to just loop him right after that, and he lost very fast. He was a little upset, to be honest. Just kind of got Dust Shoot. He got, like, insane cards. He got absolutely insane cards. But he was mad that I got Dust Shoot. That's okay. Then round 2, I played in the Frog Mirror match, and I kind of just swamped him real fast. Game 1. Game 2, he beat me with a really well-timed DD Crow. I think he top decked it right when I was going for a pot of greed play. He literally top decked it the turn before and had to pass. And we both just sat on Treeborn, but I ended up losing that game because he was able to go. I had a huge field of double dupe, flip flop, I believe, and a substode, and he was able to Miracle Fusion out to an absolute 0, and then Miracle Fusion that 0 out to another 0. And I just couldn't get over the 3,000 0 once he got through like my dupe block. And then I won in time right after that. And then the third round was my last match because the last guy scooped to me. I played against Diva Hero, who also DDV'd me turn 1, and I could not play through it. Game 2, what happened in Game 2? Yeah, that DDV, I think he ended up getting like 3 cards. Game 2, what happened in Game 2? Oh, he used a Master Restrict, but it didn't hurt me too bad. I was able to go play around it because, again, I don't main deck Kais or anything like that. And then Game 3, I couldn't keep up. Back to the deck list. I also play 1 Future Fusion, I said, like for all those combos. 1 Foolish, because they're kind of the same card. Heavy Storm, MST, both were fine. I did play Giant Trune. Now, this card, in theory, should have been really good, I think. And I think that if I actually played a lot of matches, it probably would be pretty good. I don't know. It didn't come up too much yesterday. Again, the decks that I played against didn't do a whole lot of back rows. It would have been great in the Diva Hero matchup, but I don't know. I either didn't draw it. I might have sided it out. I forget. Unfortunately, I did side out Unifrog one time. That was a mistake. Found that out real quick. Brain Control and 1-for-1. And then finally going over to the traps, I have 2 Raigeki Break. I think this was fine. I could have had another, like a Phoenix Wind Blast, for example, but I think just the 2 Raigeki Break was totally fine. 1 Mirror Force, 1 Deep Prison. So I do like these over the Torrent because Torrent's interesting that they don't have to summon anymore. They can just turn me off of like Treeborn or whatever. Once I set Torrent, if they have a monster on board, they don't have to do anything. I might have to make a weird play to set off my own Torrent, but they do have to attack to win the game. So ultimately, either these are going to get MST'd, Heavy Storm, Dark Armed, whatever it is, or they're going to attack into it, and I'm going to get value. Then finally, Dust Shoot. Now, cards I did want to run were actually, I wanted to run Mind Crush. This originally was meant to be more of a control build, like hand control type of build. So I wanted to run Mind Crush, and I wanted to run, what's it called? Aoi. The water, here you go, Spiritual Water Aoi. I might go back to this. Maybe it's not Mind Crush. I don't know if Mind Crush is super reliable, to be honest, but I might go to add this back into the main over the Flip Flop. That's hard to say because Flip Flop does help with the Moray of Greed, and there are situations where I thought, man, I really do want Flip Flop, but I sided it out. One of the situations I wanted Flip Flop was against the Vayu deck. He had out double Vayu Synchro, and I was on a dupe lock, and I could have gone into Flip Flop, but I sided it out because obviously I wanted less cards against DDV, and maybe that was a mistake. I guess I kind of know for next time, but again, this just felt like a luxury, and Aoi is something that I do want to go back into the main deck. I just don't know what I could possibly take out for it because everything felt really solid. The only cards that in the main that I think I would move on are Flip Flop and BLs, but both those cards, like I said, they do a lot. I could take out alternatively, like I said, Giant Trunade felt like it didn't do a whole lot, so I might do a Trunade for Alway just to see how that goes, but maybe it's because I didn't have enough sample sizes, but I do want another trap, whether it's Alway, maybe it's going to be Torrent, it could be a Phoenix Wing One Blast, just because I like the diversity of discard traps between Raigeki Break and the Phoenix Wing One Blast, so I don't know, just something I'm kind of thinking about. I would like a few more traps in here. And then going into the side, I don't think there's, I'll go through the extra. I don't think there's anything special in the extra. Stardust, Thought Ruler, Colossal Fighter. Maybe I should have had a second. It never came up, but this deck Colossal Armory arms really, really easily. So maybe there are cases where they're able to out the first Colossal Fighter with a Caius or a Prison or something. In a situation I can't Pot of Avarice it back, that maybe I should be playing like the second Colossal over, I guess, Thought Ruler. I don't know. Black Rose, Goyo, Brio, Junk, Cataster, Android Worm. And I do play 2 Armory Arm. This is something I kind of thought about playing 3. It's pretty possible to make 3 Armory Arms in this deck. I don't know all the lines. I don't know exactly how many cards are needed to be able to do it. I know that if I have like probably a pretty decent hand, as in like some combination of a Pot of Avarice and a Salvage, I could probably go pretty easily into 3 Armory Arms. I don't know if that's I don't know if that would happen enough to even matter. 2 Armory Arms did come up. Someone was able to out my first Armory Arm because I had it equipped to a Goyo Guardian, and I went to attack, and they had Phoenix Wing Blast. But I had the second one, luckily. And then he summoned Caius the second turn, and because he finally summoned Caius, I was able to just summon my own Colossal Fighter and Armory Arm in the second turn and just win. And then we played the Zero and the Gaia for the Future Fusion. Now, something that does come up that I will say, because I am running the Trunade, it is entirely possible, as in it does happen. It's happened a few times in testing, to have Future Fusion out and then use Trunade, put it back in my hand, and some combination of these 3 cards, whether it's a Pot of Avarice or Salvage plus Murray, to put Ocean back into my deck allows me to reuse the Future Fusion again to get basically another Foolish Burial. That is something that did come up through various test hands that was actually pretty interesting to run. So another reason I kind of like the Trunade, but that might be, again, a little bit too niche to worry about. Going into the side, so I actually do side the 3 Caius. The reason I don't main the Caius is because I found myself just kind of losing on Caius hands. Not that that's a bad thing. Caius is probably, the single best card in Edison, and Brain Control Caius goes really hard. Caius outs all your problems. But I found in game 1, I didn't want to be held back by multiple Caius hands, and I personally enjoy playing through these giant combo loop hands instead of just going Treeborn Summon Caius. I enjoy what I've built a lot more. But I do side the 2 Caius with the 2 Vanities Fiend, because I'll show it now. I do also side a Deck Devi to match them. This did not come up. I didn't draw Deck Devi. I actually would like to put in a second one. So between 3 Caius, 2 Vanities Fiend Gores, and the Dark Synchros, whether it's Colossal Fighter or Cataster or Thought Ruler and Junk Warrior, I actually have 10 very consistent tributes for Deck Devi. So it is something that does come up. I think I would probably put Deck Devi in maybe over Torrent, like a second Devi. I'm not really sure, to be honest, but that is why I do actually side the Caius, since I just not play them all. I think in game 2, if they don't see them game 1 or game 2, it's very possible that they don't side in pulling the rugs or things like that, in which case Caius becomes a lot better. And then I side one Kaiku, and one DD Assailant. So all these monsters over 1500, basically in any kind of expected deck heavy matchup, the idea is that I can just side in basically all of these. Inside out, some copy of Dupe, Flip Flop, BLs, maybe a Fishborg, all three Moray of Greeds, and basically kind of like cut my deck from, I don't know, being 90% deck heavy destroyable to down to like 60%, and be able to put all these in. And then I go with a Soul Exchange to match the tributes I now have plus the substitute. And then I would like Lightning Vortex. I think Lightning Vortex or Dark Dust Spirit would be pretty good just for giant field wipe opportunities. And maybe I could put them on. Actually, Kaiku is really good. Both these, every single card right here that you see, all the monsters played a very good role yesterday. I don't know if Soul Exchange came. Yeah, it did. Soul Exchange was good actually in the value matchup. It was really good. And then I play 3 Dust. Maybe this is too many. I do like triple Dust Tornado though. Maybe one of these could be a deck heavy. But in a deck that kind of just, as we all know, frogs lose to Mask of Restrict, they lose to like Defissure, they lose to just random cards in the back row, and my build specifically also lose Torial Oppression. I definitely always wanted to have huge forms of back row removal. So what I'm thinking in general is maybe dropping the Giant Trunade for Aoi, and then just keeping these 3 on the side. And maybe dropping Torrent for second deck heavy. But then the last 2 cards inside are going to be Prisons. I loved Prisons. Prisons were so good. Maining the 1 prison and then siding into 2 more was very, very good overall. If you haven't tried it, I do recommend it. But I mean, there's a lot of options I could take in general with this deck list. But if you guys like this list, let me know. I'll have a wonderful day, and please let me know of any changes you suggest. And you guys have a good day. Bye.